Okay, welcome to our weekly New Gambia platform talk show. Today is April 17, 2022. We're going to be discussing about the National Assembly election, the outcome, what were the surprises, the nominations, and the way forward. So this is a very interesting topic, and I guess we're going to do our best. Our panelist is here, Sam Sise from Indiana, and Alas, Germany, and I'm your host here, I'm the Sound in New York City. Let's go right into it. Sam, what do you think about the National Assembly election? I mean, I know, everyone is talking about it. Do you think that this was expected? What were the opposition thinking? How is UDP before coming in to this election? How is MPP? What were the expectations and so forth? How about the nominations? Let's look into all areas and try to digest this. Yeah.
I think, looking at the results, I think it was surprising and it was good because when I first take a look at what was being said, especially by NPP, that they're going to sweep the whole country. They're going to take all the seats on the National Assembly, and that did not happen. That was, to me, that was a good thing, because we do not want to, in any country, you do not want to, especially in African countries, and especially in Gambia, we do not want the incumbent to have all the seats in the National Assembly as well, because when that happens, then they dictate, and everything that they want to pass, they pass it, whether good or bad for the country, it get passed. So that's one. So this election with UDP getting what, about 15 seats, is that correct? 15?
About 16, yeah.
16, so 16. I think that will help balance it out. Not only that, you have some independent candidates also. The NATO coalition from the APRC group, I think they did very well. That was unexpected. I did not know that there will be that group like that will have such a great achievement in achieving the number of seats that they have compared to the original APRC. So I think that that was a blow in the face for APRC as well. So, but having that there really creates the flexibility of parties talking to each other and pulling them into their group, or at least be able to be on the same page and looking at their manifestos and looking at their agenda and be able to pass some bipartisan bills. I think that's going to be the key here, passing bipartisan bills. Say, for example, UDP wants to pass some bills. Their candidates, their National Assembly members will be able to work with these people and get some bipartisan bills passed. So I think we are kind of like fairly balanced a little bit. I like it that way. I don't want all the National Assembly seats to go to one party. It's not always a good thing. We need to be able to have the check and balances there and be able to have the National Assembly members debate and have a meaningful debate. And when I say meaningful debate, the other part that I need to look at is, or we all need to look at is, now, are these National Assembly members competent enough to stand in front of the National Assembly and speak English? And because that's what they use. They use English as the language there. So are they competent enough to speak English, stand there and not be afraid to speak English and afraid to speak the truth and fight for Gambia and not their individual interests? That is very important. So yet to see. I don't know them all. So it'll be something I want to watch. When they get to the National Assembly, what are they going to do? What are they going to see? Who are the ones that are going to stand out and speak and fight the truth and fight for Gambia, not fight for the president or fight for their individual own interests, but fight for Gambia, because the National Assembly members represent Gambia. So that's one. On the other side, I want to say we also have seen presidential nominations. that came out later on. I asked myself, are there not other people in Gambia that the president could nominate rather than nominating people from the All Party again and from APRC? I mean, they are people, they're also human beings, but we need to, if we need to move our country, we want to move our country forward. We don't want to be going backward to people that have set some records in the Gambia that are not favorable for the country. Fabaka Tombonjata has been in the National Assembly. I think he was the speaker during Jammeh's time. That's enough. We've had that time. We've seen his record. We should not want him anymore. Then you have Sidin Jai in there. Sidin Jai also really created a chaos in the Gambia during the impasse. We all know that. And why would we bring somebody like that and put him in the National Assembly as the deputy chief, speaker there? Again, I wouldn't do that. If I were the president, those are things that I would not do. And I look at, I'm not speaking for any party. I'm not speaking against anybody. I'm speaking for Gambia. I look for what is good for Gambia. What is the solution for Gambia? Then I look at the other nomination, Fatma Jawara, that lost in her own constituency. Her own people failed to vote for her because they know what her record was in the last 5 years. So if the people chose not to choose her and chose somebody else instead, why would the president bring that person in again? And that also does not make any sense, because that means that person is definitely not going to represent their people. She's not going to represent her people. She's going to represent the president. And she's going to say yes to everything that the president passes or wants, whether it's good for the country or not. She's just going to say yes, because her own people, in other words, I would say, dumped her by not re-electing her to go back in there. They elected somebody else that they thought is more competent in that position. So those nominations from the president, to me, are not good for our country. I'll put it that way. And I'm going to stop here and allow Alice to come in, and we can go around the circle. I mean, the circle here, and talk about this and discuss it in general. But that's my first take about this.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. In fact, you said a lot. I don't know whether I can
you said a lot in a short period of time.
Right. Yeah. I don't even know where I'm going to start with. But you said the reality. I mean, they should be there for Gambians, which is a very important point, because I think the last parliament, they had also a lot of problems of getting certain bills also, especially the most important one, the anti-corruption board bill was signed by the president, as I knew, when it was in the parliament. They were playing football with it. Even Tambedo left it here also and ran away. It's just like everybody is running away from it, and which is a very bad certificate for all MPs. I would say, I'm very sorry, but for all who were there, who didn't take this thing very seriously in the parliament, and forgetting that the Ghanaians voted for them extra to fight for their rights. This time, luckily, Mr. Barrow was not to be blamed because he signed it already. If not, I was going to say something, So we Gambians need to see the light. But I think many also did, because many have seen the people they voted for the last parliament. For example, they didn't do the job they were elected for. So this election, they also tried to choose somebody else. So that is showing you that Gambians are also coming. We are coming to be also very democratic. That the majority carries the vote, and what we don't like, we can vote against it. I think that is not just that we know it, but through that we are also developing the nation, because the more people know the use of their voting cards, as I used to say always, the use of their voting cards and what they can move with their voting cards, the more they know it, the more the country will progress. You know why? Because Gambians will be very careful voting somebody who is not going to bring them progress in their life. That's why it's very important for the people to know what is this card? What can I start with it? What can I do with it? What's the use of it? We gave here advice and everything. Can you remember before the election?
Right.
That's it. That people take it and then under their pillow and then try to sleep and think of it. What is the use of it? Things like that. But I don't know whether everybody did. Anyway, I always saw that many they voted wrong. The next week they started crying. So that means they didn't think about it before. As we explained here, they didn't try to think about what we were saying. They were influenced by the drums and the rallies and the monies floating in the streets. So then after the election, everything is closed. Then they start to cry again. And this is what the Gambians should understand. And this mistake should be eradicated from Gambia. You understand? People should not always forget after 5 years. When there is election, they forget all their problems and do the same mistake again and start crying the next week. It happened here also. You know, many people didn't try to support the 3 years judgment just because of such a mistake again. You know, they were supporting this way, and then after 2 weeks they went to this way. So that is also confusing somehow. You understand? But as Gambians are, which they sought here in the parliamentary elections, that they start to see what they can start with their voting cards, respect, because when they are not, I used to say it here, when certain individuals in the house don't know that people put them there, the next election, they can be voted out. And it seems to be what happened also. Because it seems like all these people coming new, they've never been there before. Like only people like Tumanjai and all, and they are nominated, like Jawara also. These are nominated people. That means the president has the right to bring them in, even if the people vote against them. But then it's the president's responsibility because he's doing that for a political reason. People like Sirinja, you mentioned here, or Bakari Tomonjata, the president himself knew that he was there before, and now it's time to give maybe young people. But you never know what is behind the scenes. You can only say what you think and what you suspected. Many are saying that was signed before with Barrow. I just heard it, that when Barrow wins, so he's supposed to do this and that also. That's why Barrow is also going to fulfill what he signed before to become a president. So that means he cannot become a president now and leave them on the street. So he must do something. We just maybe right, we'll see. Maybe wrong, we'll see. But people are saying.
You think it's just like a payback, right?
That's it, because even some mentioned this here. It's also a surprise for few Gambians, but many people know exactly why, and what is behind the scene. Because if I come and tell you, Sam, now it's election time, make sure that you come and vote for me. You ask me when I vote for you, what am I going to get? You tell me a ministerial position. I'll try and fight and do everything for you. So now when when the win is there, then you have to be compensated somehow. But these are things, not the interests of the Gambians. Let us be real. We have to, I used to say it here every time, we have to throw away all those nonsense. What we need is people who are going to develop the country. You understand? We are far behind and we need people. Even if I take people from the opposition and put them in a place where I know that is going to serve the country very well, you can still do that, no problem. That's why maybe what the president did also is okay with the hope, maybe Fabakary Tomonjata, as they said, that experience, but not as how.
Not experience, not in the good way though.
Yeah, but as MP, not at that position. That may he himself, he can think maybe how to talk with them also through experience, but that was not his job before. So we have to see how everything is going. And then this, what many people are saying, Barrett did that. Most are also saying that Barrett did that because he's only afraid because the parliament is now full of the opposition, which is also normally a problem for a president. Because if you want to rule and you
No,
have only the
but
opposition
Alice, I
inside,
think that is good for the country.
yeah, good for the country, but not for a president. That's what I mean. When it happens, then you'll see that Barrow's 4 years or I don't know 5 years to go, he will never move anything, or it will be difficult. You understand what I mean? It happened to Obama also, I think. You can win.
If he wants to move something in the interest of Gambia, I think most
Then
of
they'll
them will
support it.
agree
They'll
with it.
support it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But the president cannot just come and say, I want to do this and that. It's not easy. And in America was like this, that the Republicans, even if they see that it's going to serve the country, sometimes they play such games just to, because it's opposition. Sometimes they go to the extent that they forget about it, that it's about America. It's politics. But it's always not easy when the president have more opposition in the parliament. So he's just going to be more or less a marionette somehow. So maybe that's why Barrow took this strategy, think that maybe with that Njai and Tamonjata, maybe then he can also, with the people he nominated, can also be on his side in certain topics. But let us see. Anyway, that's what people are saying. That is Barrow's reaction. Many are saying maybe it was and the other hand,
So let's
you said here,
let's
yeah,
analyze the results
yeah,
of the
yeah.
election.
The other hand, that's why I wanted to say. Sam said here, even the new APRC. I mean, it's the old APRC and it's the original APRC from my eyes, anyway. Because that's the APRC with Jame. The others were the other APRC who said that they are the real APRC by Barrow. So Barrow knows them as APRC, but the others are the originals because they are with Jame somehow. I don't want to mix myself there. It's not surprising for me that those people have seats in their places.
No,
They are going.
they have five.
Yeah. It could have been more than that. Just that through the whole confusion, they were not settled. Even the presidential election, there was no settlement because that was the time they were trying to split. People were confused, and so they missed that one. So right now you're seeing people are coming again. People are trying to vote for them, trying to see, and they know them. That's why it's a big advantage. So they'll definitely have seats there, and UDP as well. So people are on the other hand maybe not okay with their MP who was there, didn't solve their problems. Well, because most of them are only after their pockets.
About five of the UDP's MPs were elected by UDP last election. 5 of them were dropped as a result.
Yeah, because the people who voted for them, when they are disappointed next time, they should always remember their election come always, even if it is 10 years or 8 years, no problem. One day election will come. So as MPs, I would make sure that I'd swap the people who took the time and voted for me without even anything. It's just a matter of humanity.
But what that proves is that those people can only win on the UDP ticket, not on the MPP. That's what it proves.
Yeah, I mean, if there are places you have more, say, UDP, which I cannot say, because after the election, since then, many people are not happy with Barrow. They voted for Barrow, but on the other hand, they were not happy with what was going on. So many of them were feeling disappointed. You can see it from the way people are voting. Because Barrow is not quick with his actions after the election immediately. So many people waited, because Barrow maybe also was waiting for this election first so that he can share his people, so that he can start his projects and so on. But many Gambians maybe didn't understand that. For them, it was a little bit too long. That some were criticizing. So after voting him, what's next? I've been hearing that also. Many people were writing that. So that means people were hoping just after the election, Gambia will go like a rocket. So what was coming was people are talking about things are costly. I cannot buy bread. The inflation, and people don't see nothing. No reaction from the parasite also.
And then no change of cabinets also.
Because Barrow is planning, was maybe waiting for that here so that he can change everything and do and changing the cabinet. That is also something he should also think about. Because if I should say change this person, but maybe I have to get somebody, and maybe he which is an excuse because you have very talented Gambians. Gambians can fill any position you give them there in the cabinet. Some can even do better than that and bring the country forward. But it's left to the president with his plan and what he's doing. Maybe he's doing certain things for a political reason. But anyway, for me, that's what I see, that there is a development coming in the Gambia, which is very, very, very positive, that people start to know the use of their power, the use of their voting cards and their power.
The power resides.
And only they themselves can bring the country to be like what they used to say, like New York, through their voting cards. They should not underrate it. Through their voting cards. You can change the whole Gambia to look like New York, just through their voting cards. And I used to say that. As far as Gambians don't know that, till they know it.
Well, they actually made a big change this year. And
yeah, you see that you seeing already the development, and this is also a testimonial or attestation. You can call it also to show them that if you vote correctly, you get also the right people. You understand?
Exactly.
As the people know that, they can change everything. And when they change the bad people to the good people, then they'll see also at the end the surprise that Gambia is going forward.
Exactly.
So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Alice, on that. I just want to briefly give a breakdown. You guys have given a very insight of the elections and how your thought process are. It's a surprise. It's another surprise. I always say this: elections, you cannot tell. Sometimes you can predict, but elections are very difficult to predict. See, my assessment is overconfidence. Both camps in the presidential election, I think UDP, they were overconfident they're gonna win that election. They were going with the belief that they're gonna change the government, and they were disappointed. If they knew that it was gonna be like that way, they would have probably changed their strategies. The same token, the same thing happened with Barrow and MPP. Coming to this, they were saying they're gonna win how much? How many seats? Some were saying 40 seats. I was hearing all kind of predictions, but they were overconfident, not knowing that Gambian people actually can decide these elections. And what I also observe is that money, yes, money can buy votes. That's true. But sometimes it's not all about money. Gambian people have started to demonstrate that, listen, money is not everything to us. We choose who we want to put. The Fonyi people, they stood by their leaders and didn't go with the APRC that went with Barrow. That was a very surprising move. even though that Fabakary Tombong and his folks are saying that they were the real APRC, they had the documents and all that. But the funny people said, no, we choose who we want to choose. We are going to tell you who we think the real APRC are. And then they won all the seats there. With Jammeh, back in Jammeh, who's not even in the Gambia, realistically. So the vote, I think Gambians are getting to be aware of their voters card, like Alex says. The value of it, I think it depends on the individual though. The people we put in power, the people who contest these elections. Let's revisit that. Because the same UDP won 16 seats. Barely, they were so beating in the presidential election that we all said that it was cheated. We all speculating that because the way they were beating, Hussein was beating at the polls. Now, the same UDP, nothing has changed much. Not even campaign. They didn't even campaign as they did in the presidential election. They put candidates, and guess what happened? They surprised everyone. We were thinking, people were thinking about 5 seats. Now they went 3 times that. So my observation in my analysis of this election is that UDP has been strategic. They noticed Barrow's operation, Barrow NPP operation. From the presidential, they learned a lesson. You know, the best way to make somebody learn a lesson, beat them, let them fail, make them fail. When they fail, when the situation make you fail, you learn so much from that failure and you come back and pass. So I think UDP learned so much from Barrow's victory. They knew race card was played. I mean, tribal card was played. Tribal card, we sometimes don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk, we have to face it. Let's face the reality. There's the tribal issue in the Gambia with tribal voting. What UDP did strategically, especially at Talinding, they put somebody who is a Jola who came from that area. And he beat Falmata Jawara severely, mercilessly. And they put some areas where there are some candidates who are from Fulani background. They put them there, they won. So you don't have to, you just have to look at the tribal, card that Barrow government played. Barrow's NPP, sorry, I wouldn't say government, NPP. Especially when Dembo Bai first came and painted UDP in a few days before the election, that really went, went far. That changed a lot of minds. So tribal sentiment, UDP is trying to realize that, and then they try to bring these other tribes at the strategic areas and make them contest. And look at the results. They're coming in. So but, I think Gambian politics is is really coming down to strategy based on what appeals to people. But I think candidates speaks a lot. Look at MPP, the candidates, the quality of candidates they put in. The qualities are poor. Seriously, man. People don't vote in parliamentary election. They vote for the people who represent them. They don't vote for the president. That's what it shows. Barrow technically went around the whole nation, touring, even though he said that, people have to cut fast. That's why, they couldn't campaign, they couldn't go house to house, because when cut fast time comes, you have to stop. In Ramadan, even though he mentioned that, trust me, Barrow went around with his entourage to campaign. So that's not an excuse. Cut fast didn't really make you lose this seat. And the Barrow has made a history, but in a bad way. He lost all the seats in Banjul. Even if we put Sam there or Alex, I don't think Alex will manage to lose all the seats in Banjul as a president.
No, no. I win
How
the whole
made it
Banjul.
history that the whole combos, you know, only Yundum he won. I mean, which president has ever had performed that bad? It's not even about making
Yeah,
getting.
but
That's why I didn't blame him when he angrily came and nominated such a group. This group that he nominated, they look like you know, like the soul fighters of MPP. That's what he put people there who are ready to fight. Now, okay, I cannot convince people. Let me go and fight. Let me put my battalion,
or let me
people
do my
who can
own thing.
argue up to the last drop.
Or let me do my own
Looking
thing.
at that lineup, I don't know the other guy. I don't know. But looking at Babakari Chambang,
But he's just going to be the speaker, so he cannot take the place of an MP.
No, but listen to this. Listen to this. When it comes to negotiation, when it comes to going to these MPs under the table, sell ideas, give them even, bind them out, and then we have to be very careful. We are excited that we have a diverse, and this is what we all have been talking about. Let's have a diverse parliament. It doesn't matter who wins. Even if UDP won, we wanted diverse parliament. We got that, but now we need to, these MPs that are independent, they need to be mindful. If the money moves them and sell their agendas to the devil, they will pay the price.
But when they do that, and the next election coming, and when it comes, they see the results.
Most of the people who lost their seat, they sold their their this thing. That's why they lost. Look at them, 5 UDP folks who went to Barrow. They lost. If they were there contesting, I guarantee you, on the UDP ticket, they probably would have gone back. So this should be a learning lesson for the independents. Independents, you coming in, the real reason why you won, because they don't want to vote for MPP. Trust me, it's not like they don't want to vote for UDP. They don't want to vote for MPP. That's why independents won. Because the ruling party has the advantage. If the ruling party don't win anywhere, people don't want them. Point blank. They don't want them. So why, as an independent, you gonna go and support or get bought by that MPP or the leadership of that? Then you are a fool. Because you go back to the pool again, you're not gonna win. Yeah. So Gambian people are
and
conscious.
I think people are
Gambian people are getting conscious. So just to wrap it up, are getting conscious now, and I'm glad about that. Before I was worried. I said, when are people gonna wake up? It's gonna be money. Do you know how much money was spent on KMC? You guys don't have an idea. Do you know how much money was spent in this parliamentary election from MPP? They will not disclose it, because they wanted to go and make all the legislation as they wanted, so that the president can be there for several years, do whatever he wants to do. But now there's a roadblock. So it depends on the the independents now. I'm not worried about known to alliance, because known to alliance, those ones who are not gonna look for the interest of this ruling party. They're gonna look at the interest of themselves and the Gambia, UDP too. So independents are the ones who probably will fall for the bait. And if they do, they're not going back to the National Assembly. Gambian people, thank you for voting the way you voted. This is what we want. We want to look at Gambia first, not our alliance to party, not our alliance to individuals. Okay, so let's go to work. I mean, Barrow has five candidates that he nominated. He got that. He got NRP 4 candidates. Fine, he got that. Maybe the DOI, I don't know where they stand, but the opposition now can definitely have another second opportunity to save Gambia if Gambia want to go to another direction. And Alice wanted to mention one thing: all presidents want to have majority in the parliament so they can have their way. Yes, I want my job as a president to be easy, but if the intention of that leadership, I think, that are not in support of that. And that's why we need parliament, because we never know what is the intention of the leader is. Look at Jammeh. His intention was not real. That's why he used the parliament to make all these bad laws. Do we want to see that I repeat? We want to see the constitution back. We want to see a lot of things back. Only way we can get that is through a parliament that's diverse, like how it is now. Otherwise, we stay like that. But you cannot come and impose something on us that will make us go even worse than the kind of laws we have right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys here. I know this conversation is a lot deeper.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sawane.
I'll come in.
Yeah, you can
come.
Thank you for that. So, going back to this now, and on the other aspect that Mr. Sawane just brought up too, which is analyzing the situation from my own analyzation, is it looks to me what this election of the National Assembly indicates to Gambia is that the presidential election was not fair. That's what it shows us, because if you look at it, the president campaigned for NPP very well. They used the state resource to go out and campaign for these National Assembly members, to campaign for people to vote for them. And yet they still did not get the super majority that they were claiming they will get, like NPP was saying they will get. So if you look at that and reflect back on the presidential election, you would think that if they have that much of an influence on people to be able to have that super majority in that big win on the presidential candidates or election, that should translate into the same thing in here. If people really voted for the president, and the majority of the Gambians voted for the president, and the majority of Gambians wanted NPP, then that majority of the Gambians will vote for the NPP candidates. But UDP pulling 16 candidates out of the National Assembly elections is an indication that the presidential election was really not fair, just like they claim, based on all the revelations that they pull out. And we all heard them, what they said and how the presidential election went. All the cheatings, all the allowing people to vote even after the registration deadline, voting deadline, after the polls were closed, people were still voting. And also a lot of things that they mentioned, and I won't go through all that, but all the things that they mentioned that were wrong, that was also a red flag that showed NPP, well, we knew what you did. If you try to do it now, we're going to go after you. We will know it. We know it. It is a shame that I won't call it a shame. It was unfortunate that UDP did not get their claims into the court in time to be able to nullify that presidential election for Gambia to go back to elections again. That is what should have happened. But unfortunately, they were late in filing their petitions and filing it correctly. That caused them that. But this National Assembly election really is an indication that the presidential election was not fair. I'll put it that way. So the other part that I want to talk about is, now that they're here, now we are where we are. Presidential election is passed. National Assembly election is passed. We know who won and we know who is going to be in their cabinet. Now, what are they going to do for Gambia? That is the key. Because moving the part of the jobs, the job description for the National Assembly members is to make laws for Gambia. They need to make new laws. They need to be able to get rid of the bad laws and also change some laws, amend them to be good for Gambia, not necessarily good for the president. Because the 1997 Constitution that we are using right now was put in place to favor the president most of the time. There are some good laws in there, don't get me wrong, but there are some very bad laws in there that not only favors the president, but there are some bad laws that are against our own people, are against Gambians, which should not have been in place. So all of these are things that we need this new National Assembly to go do, to go work on and change. Are they going to be able to accomplish that? That is my question, because I want to move forward. We need to look forward. We want a National Assembly that's going to be competent enough to do that. And one of the things that I'd like for them to do is to pass a law that makes the IEC chairman be elected by the people, not by the president. Because think about it, anytime you have an IEC chairman, like in the Gambia, not necessarily everywhere in the world, but in the Gambia specifically, the IEC chairman is there for really, they fear their job, they fear the loss of their job, they fear their lives, and they want to stick with the president. They want to take the side of the president, you know, and that is not good. They are supposed to be independent. That's why they call independent electoral commission, right? So if they are independent, they really need to be independently elected by the people, so that they know that they represent the people, and they will not care who the president is. They will not care who the presidential candidates are, because they're there for the people. People nominated them or elected them. If they get elected, they will serve their purpose. They will do the right thing, because you know what? If they don't, they know that people are not going to vote for them. There will be more candidates coming out in the next elections to stand against them. And if those people have better track records than them, people will vote for them, and that's how they will lose the job. So it will take the fear of loss away from them if they were elected by the people. And I think this National Assembly should do that. Otherwise, you know, I don't understand why IEC can come to announce results and then walk away. You just announce 1 or 2 results and you walk away. Come on, you walk away for hours. You go away. What are you doing behind the scenes? Yeah. People want to know their results. People voted. They use their fundamental and constitutional right
maybe the results were
of democracy and vote. When they vote, and if the polls are closed, come in, announce the polls. You need to announce it. Don't come and announce 1 or 2 or 3 and then you take away and then you go for hours and then come back. That's nonsense. We don't want that. We want them to be prepared, get all the results and sit down one time and announce it all for Gambians to see. So you eliminate all this speculation. What are they doing? They're talking to the president. They're talking to these people. They're mixing numbers. They're changing the numbers. They're inflating the numbers. They're doing all kinds of things. That creates that commotion in people.
And then this is, I think this is the first time we are seeing this kind of operation.
Yeah, it's stupidity. I mean, to me, it shouldn't happen. It should not happen. If you get the results, you only get 1 or 2, don't come out and announce. Wait until you get all the results and come and announce. Or maybe at least wait until you get half of them.
Half
By the time you sit down to announce that half, the other half will come in. You see? So you can be on track and announce it to the people. But we've seen it in the presidential election. We've seen it again. And I've said this on my audios that I released in my group, that the IEC chairman really needs to retire. He needs to retire and get out of there before he brings shame to himself. That's what needs to happen. So he needs to retire. We need to bring people in there. I mean, I saw his announcement. He cannot even pronounce words correctly. He could not. So is it age? His age is deteriorating. I understand that. It's time to give up and go retire. Enjoy your retirement. That is what needs to happen. So at the end of the day,
I have one question though. I mean, yeah. And this one would be Sam. If the election was stolen, right? If at all, Barrow and his group NPP did something on the presidential level, sure, to win, how come they did not do that now to win? Because since they need this is the last one that they need the most.
Well,
it made me believe that. Yeah, it made me believe that the election, the presidential election, was not stolen.
Right.
It made me believe that. It's just that people didn't vote for that one.
Yep.
Because you know why? If I told the mechanism is there for them to steal, You know how many times they went to Lower Badibu, Segumbalo and them, did everything they could, even take the guy who was an independent, put them on his side. Still, they couldn't overturn the result. I mean, they couldn't win over there. So MPP did everything in every seat to win. If they had a way to cheat, like people speculate they did in the presidential, why not use it? Why not use on this one, which is more important, which is second most important thing to them?
Well,
I don't think it, they have the way to cheat. I think what had happened in the presidential election was that, tribal has a lot to play with it. People didn't wanted to vote for Dabo. They rather vote for Barrow. That's just my personal opinion. Well, because if the mechanism, I would be a fool if I have a mechanism to win one election. The second most important election, I don't have that. I have the manpower, I have the government vehicle, I have the money, and I cannot win that. I take chance on that, then I'm a fool. Because I want to win it.
Here's a simple answer to that. Okay. If you are a thief to go steal in somebody's business, and they know after you stole there, they know which route you took and how you did it. They knew your strategy. They came out, reported it to the police, and they investigated and say, here is what happened. They closed your loopholes. They also closed that door for you that you passed to go into steal. Well, guess what? The next one, you're not going to have the same opportunity. That's one. The second part is there are diehard people that are out there to support UDP, for example, and NPP, for example, APRC, for example, GDC, same thing. There are diehards that are there no matter what happened. No matter how much money you offer them, they will stick with what they have. So that is one. Tribal sentiments are there. Tribalism is there. I'm not doubting that. But I believe that why the president didn't win certain areas during that time with all the influence that they have is because those people are pure, natural diehards that will not give their candidates, that will not give their cards, their voters to the president, despite all of his resources. Okay, they want to stick with the person they believe, say UDP that they believe in. That's where they'll go. Votes are going to go, no matter what happens. So there are diehards out like that for every party. That no matter what you do, you're not going to change their minds. You're not going to change their mind. You can push money. You can do anything. They will show you. You know what? We are honest. We are true to ourselves. We believe in God. And no matter what you do, we're not going to go with you. If you give us money, we will take it, but we'll still vote for the other person. Okay. So, and if you look at the third reason is the influence of money. Gambia is very poor. A lot of things are very hard right now. Just
Especially
the cost of living alone is very hard. Mm-hmm. If you have a poor person that's sitting out there with their voter registration card that they have and intend to give it to us, a particular party, but they don't have food on the table. They're thinking tomorrow, what am I going to cook for my family? What am I going to put on the table? School fees are due. My wife or my spouse or my children are sick. I don't have any medical, I don't have any way of paying a medical bills or anything like that, or buy them medicine or anything, or even take them to the hospital. And someone comes out and hand you 5,000 when you have nothing in your pocket. People like that, that are going to turn around and take that money. They will turn around and say, God is great. I will take this money and give you my voter's card, even though that is not their intention, but only because they have no other choice. When people don't have another choice, they will take the only choice they have. So that was part of the reason why people like that gave up their voter registration cards as well. So there are a variety of reasons, not just one. I just wanted to answer that question.
Okay, thank you. Alice, what is your take on those?
Yeah, I was just enjoying your debate with Sam. Yeah, Sam is saying cheating and you are saying no. So I'm coming to be the judge now.
Okay.
Who am I going to give the right? I mean, you can be both okay. I mean, right too, because a certain percentage of people can go with some. A certain percentage of people can go with Mr. Sawan because people have different kind of ideas and opinions. You can see it how they vote also. It's democratic. That's the beauty of democratic. You know? And we are happy that we have it now in the Gambia. The only problem is we don't know how to start with it. And that's why I'm very happy to see that people are starting to know the power of their voting cards and what they can change if they want immediately in the Gambia. Just with their voting cards. And that is already showing you where you want to go. You know, like when people are very, very hungry now, don't have to anything to eat and so, and tomorrow is election, you know. So maybe many people, because of frustration, they can vote for another person. But that's their right. That's democracy, and that's the use of their voting cards. They have a voice, but nobody tell them. That's it. That's the problem. We have a lot of opposition leaders or leaders in the corner. I don't know, but you never see that they try to participate in this direction. What we are doing. Only thing the people know about the election is just you have to go and vote for. You know, you have to go and vote for me. You have to go and vote for me, but nothing more. So that person just go and vote for you because it's hearing that 10,000 times in all rallies and not looking left or right. You know, so but it's also you can tell them that because it's politics, but try to tell them the use of their voting cards itself. And why are they doing that? Why are they even going to vote for somebody? What is the use of it? You know, for me, that's the most important thing that we bring our Gambian brothers, sisters who went to school, who didn't went to school, the use of this thing in their hands and what they can do with it. Once we know that, then it's easy. Then we can be like Europe. We can be like Taiwan or I don't know the pictures they used to show. Because those
at this
people,
point,
they just want, yeah, those people were like Gambia. You know, we got independence with Taiwan the same day. I don't know, the same year. But you cannot bring and compare that with Gambia. People will tell you, are you drunk? Or are you drunk? Yeah. You know, so because they didn't also see the way till they got to the point to what I'm talking about.
I think
And it's
now,
not very far. It's
yeah.
just 1 meter away from us. You know, it took them also time to know what I'm talking about.
I think at this point, with 2016 election, with this year election, 2022 parliamentary election, I think Gambians knows now the power. El Fasala said it. Unless Gambians
it will
convinced
come
that
also.
they are the one who can determine the fate
And
of their
he's true
country
when
through
he
voters
says
card.
that too. He's
Now,
true.
Gambians can believe, unless we want to be in denial, we know we can change without anything, without voters card. And then,
but you know, everybody should know that, Mr. Sawani. It doesn't help when I know that, Sam knows that, and you know that. It doesn't help. Everybody, every Gambian.
again,
the people in every family, people who know can also tell the other people, as we are doing. We are trying to
I mentioned it again. I mentioned it again. People know that voting cards can change. After Jammeh was gone, the most powerful, leader around that peninsula, people know what politicians are doing is using tribal cards and money. Now, the oppositions are trying to use the same against them. That's what happened to NPP and then Barrow's team, because the same way of operation,
the same weapon
of tribal, politics. They strategically put people in that constituencies who are the majority there. And UDP has successfully done 3 or 4 or 5 candidates. They have gathered 3 or 4, 5 candidates that way. So that the way they were painted as a tribalist, party, that was undone in those areas. That's why they won there. And money too, but else MPP were not successful with money this time around, because guess what happened? People knew the presidential election, what happened. Everybody was surprised, right? How that was, the MPP, UDP lost. Now they knew that money was given, Carrerol and everything. All those things came out of the court process that was presented, right? People knew that this unprecedented election that Barrow won was not done just like that. Just people like the president. So now people started to say, gee, this time around, money, it's not gonna play. It's not gonna play that much of a big role. We want somebody to represent our constituency, and also that is also important because now they're not looking at the president. Now they're looking at there's somebody. I want Sam to represent me, us here in this area. We want Sam or Alice to represent us. We don't care about our president representing us because he's not gonna represent us. We want somebody local that I can go to and say, we don't have a borehole here. We don't have this thing here. Who is the person? Is it the person that MPP put in? Or is it the person that UDP put in? Or is it the person that DOI put in? That's how this election was looked at. The people are going into their households themselves and say, listen, we are not fools. We want somebody to represent us in Jara West, or this place, or Badibu, Lower Badibu. We want somebody to represent us who can deliver. Not because that person is supporting Barrow, or this person is supporting UDP, or this person is supporting that. So that is how this election was executed. Yeah, and then tribe also has something to, yeah. So go ahead, Alice. I just want to add that.
I give you right, because people want somebody to represent them. To vote the president is very different from voting your MP. The other one is just who is going to be the president. But I think from the results here, you can see that people are taking this more personal. That's why everybody try to vote who is going to help me and who is going to give my voice in the parliament. Exactly. And this was not possible in some years back. So you can see that through our newly democracy, things are coming bit by bit.
Oh yeah.
And it's a good signal anyway. Just that every individual should always know and respect his voting card. Yeah, that's the next thing. And then the other thing is, our people are a little bit confused. Some know, you said it here, some know the use of their voting card, which I also say yes, but some are also confused by the politicians at the same time. You understand? Because if I know the use of my voting card, I have a party, I go to the rally and try to listen to what this candidate is going to say so that I can learn from what the party is about or things like that. So this candidate just go to the pult and trying to insult some the whole evening, the whole session. So what are our people learning from democracy in that case? What are they learning from the use of their voting cards? So that means these candidates don't give any information to the public. They'll be insulting some, and then you'll hear the drums, and then they'll sing there, and you just say, where are we? Which century are we now to even perform such an election in the Gambia? It's very, 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 very simple sometimes to see how our rallies and our politics go, and compared to not even Europe also, just say other African countries. Politicians come, talk to the people, and tell them, if you vote for me, I'm going to do this and that and that. These are my plans. When I am in, I'll do that and that and that. So people can go home and still think of it. Was Sawane right or wrong? Should I trust him and give him my card and so? That is democracy, but not to have the chance stand on the pulpit, insulting the other people, telling everything dirty about them, things like that, the whole session. That doesn't help our people to know
Right.
more about democracy. That is not democracy, but that's why I said here, some of our people know it, but some are confused. Because the type of democracy our politicians are practicing, that is nonsense. Sorry if I say that, it's nonsense. It's the last thing you can do as a politician. But they are not afraid to do that because they know that many of the majority voting for them don't know that they should expect something different from them. You understand? So they don't respect the time of the people gathering there to hear something reasonable. You stand there just insulting the other person the whole day. So that means you're fooling our people even more because that is not democracy. But that isn't why they came there. If you want to make your politics, do it. Tell them what you have for them. What's your plans? What are you going to change? Things like that. They'll respect you.
Exactly.
But not to go there, drive there with big cars. You have a gathering of 2 million people. You have nothing to tell them. But just to tell them Mr. Sawane is the biggest fool I know. Mr. Sawane's son is dead. Things like that. That is the
That is
lowest.
something that has nothing to do with the
That
with
is
the
the
issues.
lowest grade. That's the
Yeah.
lowest grade in politics. We should leave that. If you
Yeah.
have nothing to say, nothing to do for the people, don't even call them for a rally because you have
Yeah.
nothing to say.
Yeah.
You don't go there to
You
insult
have
other
to.
people. That means you are giving them another example of democracy, which has nothing to do with democracy.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by
You're right.
most of them will confuse our people too. They are not helping to tell them if I promise you this and that, with your cards, I am going to try my best to do it. But I really know if I don't do it, you people are going to throw me out also with your cards. Let
Exactly.
them also know it, to be real. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And Sam, I'll come to Sam also, what he was saying. On my part, I just say that maybe many people were by the presidential election also a little bit confused because many things happened shortly before. You got parties splitting here, some opposition members running there, and even the Gambian people were somehow a little bit confused. That is just one point. So whether you NPP there gone with money also, it can be also their luck because that's where Gambians also should start to open their eyes and know that you cannot suffer 4 years or 5 years. Nobody cares about you. The fifth year somebody came and give you just one bag of rice. You forget about the whole problems you got in your life, thinking that this person will give you a bag of rice every day. And that is also the problem we have. Many they thought that how nice ever the election was, it's going to last. So they realized that the first bag of rice is empty and nothing comes. That's where they realized that they are being fooled somehow. you know, that's
After the bag of rice stopped coming, right?
as African politics. That's why Africans should start opening their eyes and try to know how African presidents do that. It's not only Barrow. Many African countries they win because they used to say this trick. You keep
Well,
the
where's my
door.
bag of rice? I didn't see it this month. Where's my bag of rice? I didn't see it this month.
Yeah, that's the problem we have in Africa, not only Gambia. There's a trick many presidents use. It's just like you keep the dog 1 week without eating, for example. That means you leave the people suffering before the election. You understand? So after you just open the door and throw a meat, what would the dog do? We'll jump after it. And this trick is also being used by the human psychology, by not field African presidents, this trick, just let you know. And then come the election, you think that you are in paradise. You know, you see that there is a lot of food pumped in the society, a lot of money pumped in the society. People don't feel any pain anymore. They forgot about all their problems. You understand? Because everywhere you go, you see money. Even the opposition is throwing also there, and then the incumbent on. It's the nicest time. Election time is the nicest time in Africa. People should try and know that. That after the next week, everything is going to be like before or even worse. Because that is just only these weeks there for election, and then life goes back, And many people also were confused through the splitting of parties and so, and many were also angry, confused, and I think still because of the diasporans vote was also not, and then we had this inflation also from the corona, and after the election also getting even worse. So I think all these things also happened to weak Barrow a little bit because people were thinking that they are already swimming or flying on the how to call it clouds, you know, and then after the election they fall down, boom, back to base.
Yeah, I think also he's not his in an inability to nominate. Sorry, to select his cabinet could also hurt him because strategically many people who are expecting positions perhaps would have lost some faith and say, gee, am I gonna have positions? Should I go and campaign or should I go and do my best? Because right now we don't know if he wins. If the National Assembly results come out, he could decide anything because that's what he was waiting on. That's why he didn't shuffle the cabinet. So where is he gonna put? What job is he gonna give? If already people are not there, he's not firing them. Jammeh was successful, or Jammeh's strategy was, changing everybody, like, in the split of an eye, blink of an eye, so that you can expect Alex can say, oh, okay, if I support him, I will get a position. Then you know what? Guess what happened? Next month, Alex get a position. He got fired in 6 months. Sam comes. So Jammeh was
You see,
recycling people like that. But with Barrow,
Mr. Sane,
he's at a catch-22. He doesn't want to hurt his people's feeling. But now the people that he promised are also waiting. How long can they wait? Hey, Mr. President, you told me that if I support you, I will get this. Where is it? I'll wait in 6 months. I'm hungry. Then those people can also turn against him. So that's why it's as a leader, I will advise our African leaders who lead through authenticity, lead by what you can do, not by promises, not by giving somebody a palace, give somebody a position. If you want to use that to win people, guess what? How many positions you have? Do you want to create every position for everybody in the country? It's not possible. The government cannot do that big.
Mr. Sawane,
So
but in this
the most important thing right now, most important thing here right now, that presidents need to do, African president, deliver, on your projects, in national development, deliver. If the ground people started to feel good, people medicine, they're having medicine, the farmers are doing their thing, development, education is this, trust me, the vote will come. But I don't want to fire this minister because he might turn against me. Oh, now there are 20 people you promised for that position. Those people also gonna get mad because your campaign, they all came and joined you, a grand coalition. They call it a grand coalition. So Barrow is Barrow, and then some African leaders, they need to understand it is not about somebody big by a big name. Sam Cisse, if he supports me, I'm gonna win. No, it's not about that. It's the grassroots level that wins elections. People's problem, tackling them, major problems that could change life. That's what wins. That's what people see. That's what builds up your popularity. and then you become to get votes. So I think what was happening is delaying this cabinet has also taken a toll on his National Assembly election, because people are saying, oh, we never seen this before. Every president, when they come in, within 3 months, within 1 month or so, Jawara did it, Jammeh did it. They changed the parliament. They changed the ministers. They resolve. Even in America here, that's what happens. When president comes to new terms, he resolves. You cannot keep the same people because they might run out of ideas. You need fresh ideas. You need, But if Gambian people are gonna use that against you and you are fearful of that, then now people who you need to change also are waiting because they are expecting now catch 22. You're probably gonna lose either one. Is it Sam used the word catch? Is it catch 22 or catch 2?
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
it?
it's catch 22.
You didn't have it in your hand, but Mr. Sawane,
Yep.
you think you can blame Mr. Barrow for that this time?
Well, that's
people
the
who
strategy that he
left
did.
there,
That's the strategy he did. I mean,
yeah, but
I don't know
you
if you
cannot
can
blame
blame
him
him.
for that. He wanted to win, so when he promised the people, sometimes he didn't even promise them. They left their parties and run to him. As Africa, always the president has something to give the people, something to eat. That mentality. So even if they suspected that you are going to be the president, you see that everybody will come and run to you for their future. Yeah, it's very sad, but it's like that. Poverty is a crime. So many people, they sacrificed that. Many people, maybe they even invited him to sign with him. Because without him, they are not going to live in the Gambia. They have nothing. You understand? That's our problem. People don't have nothing. They can go and study PhD. I don't know how to get their PhD. When they come to Gambia, they have nothing. That's why we talk here on this platform always. We have to change our curriculum. And that is very sad. If you throw them out of the government, they just run in the streets. They know nothing. What they can start. It's not in our school system.
And that is
We are not taught
I'll let Sam
nothing.
comment, but that's another reason why we need to talk about. People need to start to learn professions and get into business so that
So
when they
you
lose
see
their
that,
jobs.
so people have nothing but Barrow. So they all run to Barrow, and maybe some he'll invite them and some not.
Yeah.
With the hope
So
that,
Sam can comment.
after, so now when Barrow is also inviting them for his existence, so now I said it here, our first day after the election. Now is a problem for him. He won, but everybody is waiting for him. And that's the case, I think, now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So what I would say to that is, it is important that every president really look at the country and see, what can you do to move this country forward? Forget the people's interest. Forget about people. I'm not saying forget about people that elected you. I'm saying forget about the personal stuff because someone voted for me or someone fought for me to be in power or to be a president. So I have to give them something. No, this is the development of our country. We need people. We need the president to surround himself with people that are going to help him develop the country, not people that he is going to select because they help him when they can't help him do anything. I mean, look at the past 5 years. Can you tell me in each ministry in Gambia, what is that one ministry that stood out that everybody can say they've done quite a bit? They've done a tremendous job. What is that ministry? If you don't see it, then they all should go. That's it. That's the way I look at it. They should all go. Bring fresh people in that are going to make difference. Yeah, I can see people like Fabakary Tombonjada that fought for you to be president and you won. Make him an ambassador. Put him in Guinea-Bissau. That's enough. That's enough. Don't make him our House Speaker because he's been a House Speaker and he did not set the good record there. So don't bring him back to that because he's going to take us back to what he knew. So we don't want people like that. We want, and in fact, now that the president got himself into that situation, so many people that are out there waiting for a position, when you have limited position, And he is not going to create more positions. He actually should reduce positions. If you think about it, Ministry of Basic, Secondary, and elementary election, you have two different ministries, all for education. Eliminate them and make them one. It should be eliminating
that really
those
doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, man. That's a
if
big
you look at
government
Ministry of Fisheries and Ministry of Agriculture can be combined and be one ministry and have a director of fisheries and a director of agriculture, permanent secretary of fisheries, permanent secretary of agriculture. Maybe that'd be good enough. But, make them combine the two and save our country money, because we don't have any money. We are borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and we're wasting most of it. We're wasting most of what we borrow. So we need to cut expenses. Okay. If you look at Ministry of Infrastructure, now think about what infrastructure, the word infrastructure, you know what that means? We have the word Ministry of Infrastructure, and we think about our infrastructure, our schools, our power supply, electricity supply, water supply, our hospitals. Okay. Look at our telecommunication system. What is the Ministry of Infrastructure doing for us? Nothing. Get rid of it. Yeah, just get rid of it. If you go to Gambia, high-speed internet is people are paying more for credit in Gambia than in Senegal. So why do we have a Ministry of Infrastructure that cannot regulate that? And you have PURA there that is supposed to regulate all of that, and it's not happening. If you have PURA, that's enough. You don't need the Ministry of Infrastructure. So there are positions departments that really should be eliminated for us to really save money and try to build our country. So the president really should surround himself and not look at people's eyes. Now that he's elected, forget about who helped you. Yeah, they helped you. Thank them. But don't bring them into a position because you want to create more positions and continue to create more expenses for our country, a country that is very poor, a country that's full of corruption, a country that has people dying in hospitals, a country that don't even have medical supplies in the hospitals, a country that don't have good schools, and schools are suffering. The teachers are underpaid, nurses are underpaid, the police and security forces are underpaid. I mean, come on, man.
The police are recently given bicycles instead of cars. Did you see
bicycles?
You guys see that?
They're giving what, bicycles?
Bicycles for patrols. Did you guys see that?
I mean, that bicycles, it all happens. Yeah, they can use when you do bicycles. It's just like in America. Police officers have bicycles.
No. Those are neighborhood watch bicycles.
That's where I'm getting to. That's where I'm getting to.
Not a bicycle to go.
No. Yeah, just let me finish.
Report to a crime scene.
That's where I'm getting. That's where I'm getting to. You see, the police in America are given horses and bicycles for a reason. They can patrol in the neighborhood. Exactly. But they have police that have cars that can really fight
these are given. These
and
bicycles
can be instantly reporting to a place.
These bicycles are given. I wish I can have the pictures as a response to crimes.
That is really bad. How can you ride a bicycle to respond to criminals that are in cars and in guns with guns?
By the time you get there, people are dead.
Criminals are having cars and the police are having bicycles.
Even if it's close by, even if it's, let's say, there is a crime in Serakunda Market, okay? Or so outside Serakunda Market, for example, and the criminals came with vehicles, they are loaded with guns. You're going to tell those police officers, ride your bicycle and go there? When they go there, they will run them over with their bicycles and take off and kill them. That's what's going to happen. You're putting their life at risk. You need to have vehicles and arm your police officers and give them patrol vehicles and fuel to be able to patrol. The ones with bicycles and horses should be in town and deal with minor stuff. But they also always have their walkie-talkies to be able to call for help immediately. And the police cars you can see 5 police cars all show up within minutes, just like that. You see, those are like citizens on patrol. There's a patrol in the neighborhood patrol. That's what it is. They fight crime and they try to stop minor domestic violence. That's what they do.
Sam,
Yes.
I think they can have both. They can have both.
Yeah.
All of that needs to happen. They need to have bicycles, they need to have
they can
horses,
even
but
have
they need
horses.
to,
Yeah.
most of them should have vehicles.
But they should have cars for certain crimes.
They need to have vehicles and weapons,
Exactly.
and walkie-talkies.
Yeah, armed.
They need to have that.
For certain criminals, you have to be.
Yes,
If
and
not,
bicycles
No,
and horses are
bicycle and horses are fine. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have that for other reasons. But what I'm saying is, you see that, how many times have you seen them giving vehicles to the police? We've been complaining about that, and communication tools. We haven't seen that report anywhere.
I have not seen that.
Still.
Yeah,
You know,
I have not seen that.
Before you get all those stuff for campaign on all these things for that,
Exactly.
it's supposed to be going towards security.
Yeah, exactly. So let me say one more thing here.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up now,
to wrap it up here. The other thing that I wanted to say really is, just to back the fact that I said the 5 members that the president elected to put back into the National Assembly, and he could have used better choices. There's a lot of people in Gambia. He could have also represented the communities by bringing in someone from the disabilities, people with disabilities, someone in the National Assembly that can represent them, that people can hear their voice. He can speak from that point. He could have brought somebody in that will represent women in general, women in general, not Fatima Jawara that is dumped by her own people. No, you don't.
Is that legal? Is that
legal
for somebody who lost election to come back to the parliament by?
Yeah. So someone that is
because Barrow has the right to nominate certain people.
Yeah. And, also, think about it. The religious groups. Think about the Christian community, the Muslim community. He could have elected people that will represent. So when something is being talked about religion in the National Assembly, this person could be the voice. Those people can be the voice. When they're going to pass laws about women that will protect women, then you have someone that is going to represent Gambian women, not NPP, not UDP, not APRC, but Gambian women. All right. And same thing, like I said, for disabilities, these are a wide variety of choices that he could have picked from.
But instead,
better than what he picked. And last but not the least, I want to say here is, I think when we talk grassroots democracy in politics, I think in every village or town in the country, I know they have VDCs. Those VDCs should really be empowered to get their people together to tell them what is good for Gambia. Let them campaign about what should be good for Gambia, not what is just good for their individual political parties, but what should we see? Educate people so that they understand when it's time for elections, we need to nominate someone. We need to find someone that is going to fight for us, fight for the country, not what is the interest of the president. So this needs to happen because that will come to Alice's point. I know, and so on has said this too, people are realizing how important their vote is now. These VDCs should be the people in their villages and towns that is going to continue to talk to people how important their voter registration cards are. And so that when it comes to election, no one can come and fool them because they already got all the information they need. They have monthly meetings or at least quarterly meetings that they can enlighten people on such things. So at the end of the day, the president should start nominating appointing his cabinet by shuffling the cabinet big time. I mean, big time. Almost all of them should go. Because when I look at the last 5 years, what have they done for our country? I don't know. I'm asking every Gambian, I ask, what ministry stood out in Gambia that everyone can say, wow, not Minister of Finance, yeah, not that one, not Minister of
the way it
not
looks,
Minister of Agriculture, not Minister of Education, not Minister of Health. I mean, you think
So
about all
now,
this. It looks like we're going from bad to worse. We have all the worst group together that are working for.
What about tourism, sir?
Ministry of Tourism. Yeah, I just named a few, but every ministry you name, you don't see anything that tourism. What have they done? What have they, Ahmad Bat did in tourism?
just
Nothing.
talking. He has done
Talking, but
talking.
talking and not producing results. That's what that is. So at the end of the day, it's serious. This is very serious, and the president needs to take it seriously.
Sam and Alice, it looks like we're gonna have a parliament where there are just gonna be budget passes and so forth, because anything that these other people come with, if they don't have two-thirds of the majority, the opposition can block it, just like how they block the constitution. So it's gonna be like you have the no five-member no to alliance that those people might collide with UDP 16 members. That's 21 right there. You have two people of Doi. It's gonna be 23. At least 23 guarantee folks that probably independents are not even part of, but some independents might even join that 23. Now Barrow has, Barrow, but what does Barrow have to do, to make sure that he got a bipartisan? He must bring things that must be bipartisan. If it's not bipartisan, it's not gonna go anywhere. If it is gonna be something that will just benefit him, it's not gonna go anywhere. Because I'm telling you, 16 people from UDP.
Yeah, that's my advice also. That's my advice also.
Go to alliance that has 21. Then you have two Doi that has 23. Now independents still haven't even come in. He probably might get some independence on his side, probably not. And let's say half and half, but it's half and half. So what laws can he bring? Dominant laws or dominant thing that can favor him, that is not in the national interest, that would work. It cannot. I don't see that mathematically happening here. So the best thing, if I'm the president, bring bipartisan things and let's build the country. This cannot be about you or about MPP. It has to be bipartisan. And I'm urging the other elected officers to stand their grounds. If it is not for the national interest, don't vote for it. People like Tumanjai, people, there's a lot of independents that are solid. They need to be, on their foot. Look at the national interest. Don't look at president's interest or a party interest. And we will have better Gambia. It doesn't matter who's at the top. We will have a greater Gambia. And I think we are blessed with this election result. I look at it, I couldn't even believe it. A few weeks ago, if you call me, I was like, we are finished. I always tell people, we're done. Because the amount of momentum that MPP came with, Barrow came with into this election, winning that big election that we are all still spinning our head about. And to sweep the polls in the National Assembly, we finish. We might as well just pack our things and go. Because guess what? Senegalese might even occupy us very soon with all the movement that is going around that end. So now the parliament has the power to make all that laws to make sure that the Senegalese at the border of Fonyi and Fonyi and Senegal, they can do something about it. Because the Fonyi people, their lives are threatened. The rebels under the Senegalese force, why you bring Senegalese force close to the rebels? What are you telling them? People's homes have been evacuated because of all the shootings and stuff happening. So the National Assembly now has to go to work and make sure that they work in the interest of the country, not an individual. So once we get that, our country can move forward. Gambia is blessed. Yeah. Your final words, guys, and we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many people are in the opposition or what. My advice to the MPs is just that they have to take Gambia first mentality. Gambia first. You understand? Not for their parties or anything. Once they are there, they are for the Gambians, not for their parties or whatsoever. Let them think of Gambia first. If not, they are going to be voted out, just like the other people. They can see it. Gambians are very, very clever. So,
Yeah, thanks to our these forums and other things, people are getting enlightening. So definitely. Sam, your final word.
Yep. My final word is just like today's topic, we're talking about National Assembly. We started with them and we need to end with them. So it's very critical and very important that the National Assembly members know their job. And one of their primary responsibilities is to really pass good laws in our country. Also to approve the budget. This is very important. They need to be able to, we need to have competent people. And I would suggest that the Gambia suggests that every National Assembly sitting and debates be televised live for Gambians to see it. So we know who is active and we know who is not. So next time we don't vote for those people, the ones that are not active and the ones that are not fighting for the interests of Gambia. All right. So they need to be able to stand and challenge the Minister of Finance when he brings that budget. Really challenge, meaningful challenge by seeing that the budget has cut all the wasteful spending out of there before they approve it. No wasteful spending, and make meaningful spendings into our agriculture section, into our health section, into our education. These are very important things that they need to watch. So that's part of their job. And last but not the least, again, I did mention the lawmakers. They are the lawmakers of our country. They need to look at the 1997 Constitution and change the bad laws out of there, remove the bad laws out of there, make new laws to replace them, and also amend certain laws to be inclusive and to make sure that it's there for the people. And last but not the least, the National Assembly's job also is to hold the executive accountable, the executive branch. Since we have three branches of the government, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislative, they are the legislators, the legislative branch. They need to be able to hold the executive branch accountable by making sure that the government operates in the best interest of our country. If not, they have a power. And the power they have is to pass a vote of no confidence and get rid of the president. Since the president, there are ways that a president can be taken out of office. One is by the Almighty Allah. When his time is up, he dies. That's one. Two, elections, people vote for them. And three, the National Assembly has the right and they have the power to vote a vote of no confidence and remove the president out of the office. So, and when they pass that vote of no confidence, the Speaker of the House, that's why we don't want Fabakar Tambunjata there, the Speaker of the House has to call IEC within 30 days for them to go to a referendum, for them to organize a referendum so that people can vote to remove the president from office if the president is not competent. So these are part of the rules. I mean, these are part of the laws and the powers that the National Assembly has. And we need to make sure that we have the right people there. I don't know yet if we have the right people, but we'll find out because time will tell. Time will tell as they sit in their sessions. We're going to find out who is capable, who is competent enough, and the ones that are going to be sleeping in the National Assembly, and the ones that are going to sit there and say yes to every vote and not challenge anything, whether good or bad. We're going to find those people out as well, and make sure that they don't return into the National Assembly. So very important job for them. It's not a joke, and I wish them all the best. I hope they do the right thing. If not, the Gambians will do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Alice, that's it?
Yeah, I think what Sam just said here, they need to show that live. I mean, they used to show it live, but not everybody knew that. Only ITV, and that is also not a national TV, So what Sam said is, I think that like GRTS should have a time to show that, or they have another sub station where people can go and look what's going on in the National Assembly. I think it's better. Many people here in the diaspora used to look at it from ITV, which is not a national, I don't know. it's a private. They used to show that this live things in the parliament. So I don't know what the government can do with it. Minister of Information, you have to contact Minister of Information. What is his take? Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all.
Sam,
Thank
And
you for
thanks
our
to the
viewers.
viewers.
Yes,
say hello.
definitely.
Yep.
It was a great
Bye.
discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. See you next week. Take care.